Afrobeats news. So Reekado Banks may have as well pulled the biggest comeback of 2021, and guys, we have to talk about it. Now, in case you guys don't know, usually when the year is about rounding off, I usually go through a list or do a list of artists I felt like need a career boost or need a comeback fast. And yeah, I had this wide range of lists that I'm not going to actually put it out there just to be respectful. I don't want to call out names of artists I feel like have fallen off and somebody catch feelings. But any which way, what I would say is that I actually realized that there was an artist that people thought had fallen off. People thought that this guy was done. His career took a nosedive. People thought he was gone. He was done with. But this guy managed to pull a major comeback in the industry, and that is none other than the one and only Reekado Banks. Now, in case you don't know Reekado Banks became prominent or became known when he got signed to Don Jazzy's record label after being discovered through a talent show. And ever since he got signed, he had blossomed. It was hit after hit on Don Jazzy. He was one of the fast rising star that really took over, and people actually felt like at some point that Reekado Banks was going to become a global star. That didn't really happen. And that was because I think at some point Reekado Banks left the record label. He left the record label. He dropped a couple of hits, but it just wasn't as frequent as it used to come on Don Jazzy. And at some point, it just kind of fell off. Now, I said kind of fell off because I think the major reason why he fell off was because he was inactive. He wasn't releasing as much music as he used to. And aside from that, Reekado Banks was also getting into unnecessary beefs with Burna Boy of all people. I don't think, the Burna Boy beef wasn't really like a beef. It was just mostly Burna Boy, downgrading or kind of insulting Reekado Banks in some kind of way, which wasn't good, which did not make Reekado Banks look good at all in any sense or in any word. Now, the other one, which was with Wizkid, it was actually like a whole beef. Wizkid really, came after this guy. Wizkid was on some kind of Twitter onslaught for this guy. Wizkid came hard on Reekado Banks, and I felt Reekado Banks going back and forth with Wizkid as regards a song that Wizkid had featured on, because that was what started the whole thing. Because it was a song that Wizkid had featured on. Reekado Banks wanted to drop it during the whole NSAS protesting. Wizkid wasn't cool with that. Reekado Banks went on to drop it. All of that actually put Reekado Banks on a very, very bad sports light. It made Reekado Banks look bad to a large extent. But, those things, I would say, contributed a lot to the kind of downfall of Reekado Banks in terms of his musical relevance. After that, Reekado Banks became less musical relevant. However, some way, somehow, Reekado Banks was able to pull himself off there. He was able to revive his career. And I'm saying this because this is one of the hardest things to do, trust me, because when musicians fall off, it's always hard. And it doesn't matter how talented they are. There are a lot of musicians that are very, very talented, but once they fall off or once people stop paying attention to them, getting back that attention is always very difficult. So that's why I'm saying this and trying to salute Reekado Banks, because he was able to pull a major comeback this year, especially the end of this year, after being quite inactive for a long time, coming back and dropping Ozumba Mbadiwe and dropping the OTR Volume 2, which I'm sure will do numbers because it is kind of linked to Ozumba Mbadiwe, since they were dropped almost in the same interval of time. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much where Reekado Banks is right now in his career. He was able to actually get himself from a very, very difficult sport, in the sense that he had already fallen off. It was off already. Then he was able to come back. Ozumba Mbadiwe. If you've not checked out the song, go check out the song. Nice song, great melody, just a classic Afrobeat jam, man. Anyway, guys, it's pretty much up. You guys, don't forget, guys, to like and subscribe, as well as turn on post notifications. Stay tuned for more Afrobeats related entertainment and just coming at you. I'm out now, guys.